Hi everyone, this is Jody from jolouis.com. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making this Altenew birthday card. So to start with, I'm taping my Tim Holtz watercolor paper to a MDF board that my dad actually cut down for me. And I'm going to use my Daniel Smith watercolor paints. And to start out, I'm just wetting my paper all over using a wide flat brush, and then I'm going in and I'm going to take some indigo colored watercolor and I'm just going to sort of splotch it on everywhere randomly around my piece of paper. I just want this to end up looking quite organic. So once I use the indigo color, I'm coming back in using this cerulean blue color, and I just want to add some lighter areas to my watercolor piece. This technique is really easy to do, and I think that's why I love it so much. You also every single time get different results, which is also really awesome. So now you see me using my heat tool, and I'm just going to dry the watercolor piece a little bit so that I can add another layer. And once I finish using my heat tool, I come back in using some cobalt blue, and then also come back in using my indigo and also the cerulean again. And I'm just going to keep adding this to my piece of paper, going in with some water again, just until I get a look that I'm happy with. And the idea is that I'm trying to concentrate my color down in the left hand corner, and I want it to be sort of a gradient effect towards the top right hand corner. So I just keep playing with it, and it looks an absolute hot mess and until it dries, and then you'll see it looks awesome once it's finished. So once I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm just going to set it aside on my desk and let this whole piece dry, and I'm going to work on the stamping for my card. The stamp set that I'm going to be using today is the Altenew Vintage Roses set, which is an older set from Altenew, as well as I've printed their stamping guide to help me with placement. And now you see me just showing you different color combinations. I was trying to figure out which colors to use with the different inks. And here you see me, I've chosen my color combination, which is Catherine Pooler, It's a Boy, Something Borrowed, and Juniper Mist. And now I'm just using my Misty tool, and I'm aligning all of the first layer of all the roses, and I'm going to ink them all up using my Catherine Pooler It's a Boy colored ink. And I'm actually going to ink up these roses a few times, which is why I used my Misty, because I wanted the color to be darker than just one layer of It's a Boy. And once I've done that, I flip my piece of paper in my Misty so that I can stamp another set of roses here, because at this point in time I'm not sure how many roses I actually want for my finished card, so I'd rather stamp a whole bunch more and just have them left over for other projects. I'm now using my stamping guide to work out where I'm going to place the second layer of the roses. Sorry about my head being in the way, but it's really hard to try and line them up without being directly over the stamp. So once I have got the next layer of stamps in place, I'm going to stamp them with the Something Borrowed ink by Catherine Pooler. And I'm also going to flip my piece of paper again and stamp again in the same color. Then once I have done that, I'm going to use my Juniper Mist ink to stamp the next layer. And then once I've done the third layer, there are actually some of these roses that have a fourth layer. So I didn't have a fourth color, so I just use the Juniper Mist ink, and I stamp over the same area about 3 or 4 times just to create a darker ink color with the Juniper Mist. And I actually really like how this turned out. once I have finished all of the stamping of the roses, I then get ready to stamp all of my leaves. Next, I'm going to stamp the leaves that I want to use, and I'm going to use, for the first layer, the Catherine Pooler Melon Ice ink. And I'm going to stamp this twice because I also want this colour to be a little bit darker than just one single layer of the ink. And I'm going to stamp this, I think I end up stamping each leaf 4 times, just so that I've got some options with my finished card. I'm now going to use my leaf guide to work out where to stamp the second and third layers of my ink. For the second layer, I'm using the Green Tea ink by Catherine Pooler, and I ended up taking my piece of paper off of my MISTI because for this next part, for the leaf that has 5 individual leaves, it was too hard to place all of these leaves on my MISTI at once. They sort of were a bit too close. So I found it easier just to work with an acrylic block and keep stamping each one. Once I had done all of the leaves in the Green Tea ink, for the third layer, I then go ahead and use the Eucalyptus ink by Catherine Pooler. And I go ahead and stamp all of those designs. This took a little bit of time, but I think it was worth it. The end result for the leaves turned out really beautifully. I'm now using the coordinating die cuts to cut out all of my images, both the leaves and the roses, and I'm just securing these using some washi tape so they don't slip around in my Big Shot die cutting machine. For my sentiment, I'm going to use the Altenew Label Love stamp set. I'm going to be using the Happy Birthday stamp, and I'm just inking that up using the Catherine Pooler Midnight ink. And once I've done that, I'm just trimming down the piece using my Fiskars trimmer. And now I have my finished little sentiment strip to add to my card. I then decided to add some shimmer to my watercolor piece, so I used some Ranger Perfect Pearls in Interference Blue, and I put it in a spritzer bottle and spritzed that all over my watercolor piece. And now you see me removing the tape off my watercolor piece because it is now dry, and I'm going to just trim down this piece of paper so that you can't see the white edges from the tape. Once I trimmed down my piece, I realized I wanted it to have a nice edge, so I used the Lawn Fawn small stitched rectangle stackables, the largest one from this, to cut that piece down. And you can see all of the beautiful shimmer. I then took a piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock and I used the largest of the large stitched rectangle stackables from Lawn Fawn to cut out a card base. Then I adhered my watercolored piece to the Nina Solar White cardstock, and I'm just using an acrylic block to hold that down so that I don't get any warping. And now you see that I've adhered some 3M mounting tape to the back of all my die cut roses and leaves, and I worked out before off camera how I wanted to arrange my little bouquet on my card, and I took a picture of it using my phone, and I'm just now going to copy that placement to adhere all of my pieces to my card. I'm now just trimming off any pieces that are coming over the card, and I'm going to adhere this whole piece to a standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base that is top folding. To add some finishing touches to my card, I'm using some Pretty Pink Posh clear droplets in the 4mm and the 6mm sizes, and I'm adhering them to my card in a nice arrangement using some Ranger Multimedia Matte. And here is the finished card. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more card making videos. For a supply list and more photos of the finished card, please visit my blog post, which is linked below in the description here on YouTube. Have a great day. Bye.